Alright, let's get down to earth for a hot minute. I'm obsessed with architecture, especially weird architecture, and that's really no secret if you've been following my channel for a while. I also really love pyramids, but haven't really gotten the chance to talk about too many of them. And finally, sometimes I just love things that are too cartoonishly American to even be real, except every now and then it turns out they are real. What exactly am I talking about here? Oh yeah, we're talking about the Bass Pro Pyramid, baby. You know, that one with a lot of hilarious memes around it? Because it just seems so ridiculous. I've been obsessed with this thing for years now, but I never really took a second to ask myself why. Like, why does this even exist? And precisely that's what we're gonna get into. Hello and welcome to another Nick Geo shorter in-betweener video. If you're new to the channel, welcome. I cover topics ranging from US states to entire global topics to weird niche things within a country or places I've traveled to. And with that out of the way, let's dive right into this. Before we do anything else, let's locate this thing. Officially known as the Memphis Pyramid, it's located in Memphis, Tennessee, and it can be found right off the banks of the Mississippi River, right by the border with Arkansas. It's gone by the name Great American Pyramid and Pyramid Arena before. Now, believe it or not, this idea actually goes all the way back to the 1950s, thought up by a Memphis artist named Mark Hartz. Something interesting is that it was framed with the mindset of paying homage to Egypt, as the first unified capital where the Great Pyramids of Giza currently sit was called Memphis. Thus, the original concept was to actually build 3 of these, not one, in a city that shares its name and also sits on the bank of a major US river, just like the ones in Egypt do by the Nile. In fact, a statue of Ramses the Great stood out front for about 20 years until it was moved elsewhere. And it wouldn't be until the artist's son, Memphian, decided to push forward with it. It was to become a symbol for the city of Memphis, with a rendering made of bronze glass, and construction began around 1989. It took about 3 years to complete, opening in 1991 with the intent of being multi-purpose, namely for basketball games, concerts, and the likes. However, things didn't really go as were foreseen, and there would be some hardships, which we'll get into in a bit. Similar to the Olympic Stadium in Canada, or the Ryugyong Hotel in North Korea, or the 85 Sky Tower in Taiwan, yeesh, maybe we should just stop building giant structures that we can't afford to for the sake of flexing a muscle. Nah, I'm just kidding. I'm really glad that all 3 of these things exist too. Nonetheless, construction still went on, and it would end up being 32 stories tall, roughly 321 feet, and one of the full-length angles comes in at 591 feet. The base could be measured to be equal to about 5.5 football fields. Anything but the metric system, am I right? It's constructed of stainless steel panels, a grand total of 8,384 of them, and was intended to host several things, including a Hard Rock Cafe, a Dick Clark Hall of Fame, a radio tower and station, an aquarium, and all sorts of other things. According to one of my sources, there's a legend saying that during construction, workers discovered a crystal skull inside of a metal box placed by Isaac Tigrit, who owns Hard Rock Cafe, to ward off evil spirits. Apparently, when they removed the skull, it unleashed a curse that plagued this project from the start. Yes, I'm serious, check the research that I did, I always leave sources in the comments. Apparently, on opening night, a concert by the Judds was ruined due to a sewage flood, and later the Memphis Grizzlies played a game there, but the acoustics were awful. Facilities didn't really measure up to league standards, and the cost to update this was just too dang high. Many big name acts such as Metallica, Bruce Springsteen, Public Enemy, Prince, the Rolling Stones, and Aerosmith have performed here. Same with other sports teams like the Memphis Tigers and Kentucky Wildcats, and there was even a boxing match between Lennox Lewis and Mike Tyson. But it just wasn't working out, and by 2007 the place had been shut down and remained vacant for a whole decade. That sucks. The idea of turning it into the retail space that we see now has existed since 2005, when things were starting to look a little uncertain. But Bass Pro wouldn't acquire it until 2015, which took 2 more years to officially reopen. And it has since been the giant Bass Pro Pyramid that we all know and love, costing about $215 million in renovations. Other than the retail space for the company, it also now has over 100 hotel rooms, said to give a very rustic feel, a shooting and archery range, a laser arcade, bowling alley, a saltwater aquarium, and even a cypress swamp that has live alligators. What? The top has a restaurant and bar, as well as an observation deck if you aren't afraid of heights. Tigret allegedly claims that the crystal skull I mentioned is still located in here, but there's really nothing out there that can corroborate this. And considering all the foot traffic, I guess the curse has been lifted. And that takes us to the end of this very short topic I wanted to discuss. But what do you think? Have you been to the Memphis Pyramid? Or do you have any desire to visit it? I'd love to hear your experience with it down below. Peace out, my friends.